What is the most terrifying thing you've ever experienced while home alone? My neighbor uses our property to rehab rescue horses. One horse they brought in was Harvey. Harvey was missing half of his face. He was a big, beautiful Morgan stud horse that had had an untreated abscess that caused the skin on the right side of his head to rot away. He was still a perfectly functional, friendly horse, though. The day I met Harvey I was asleep in my room on a breezy spring day and he got through the fence and curiously stuck his head through my window to nibble on my blanket. I woke up to a faceless black demon horse trying to eat my feet. I screamed. He spooked and yanked my whole window out. I damn near had a heart attack. 2 a.m. Hear noise at the front door but the Ring camera didn't ding like when it recognizes a person is there. Check the camera, some old homeless dude just standing there for a good 2 minutes then just turns and walks away. Camera never detected a person. Beeping whack. Husband away. Just me alone with the kids and massive storm outside. I hear a strange noise upstairs like a banging noise. I go up and check both kids. See they are sleeping soundly and go across the hallway to see the loft hatch door in the ceiling above my head lifting 2 or 3 inches upwards. Like someone was peeking at me from the darkness of attic. Then slam back down again. As I'm stood there petrified it happens again. Then I hear my phone go in my pocket. I pick it up still stood panicking on my landing and it's my neighbor. I'm trying to be calm thinking if it's a burglar I don't want to let him know I've seen him. When my neighbor tells me the storm's ripped off the tiles on my roof. The wind was howling through the attic and causing that speepty loft hatch to lift up with the breeze. Neighbor came. Checked everything. And we damn well got a locking hatch door when we got the roof fixed. I arrived home from work one day and the window next to the front door of my 3-family apartment building was broken. With blood on the glass. I pushed the door open slowly. And saw a trail of blood leading to the first floor apartment door where the door was wide open. I lived on the 2nd floor. I've seen way too many movies so I absolutely didn't investigate the blood trail. Got the F out of the building and called 911 from the corner to play it safe. End result. Son of the apartment owner got drunk midday. Lost his keys so he punched through the window to unlock the door. Then busted down his own apartment door. He was sleeping when the police arrived. They left the next month without any further problems. Went to the bathroom and while washing my hands, I heard a really loud growl right beside me. My blood froze. I thought there was some beast right on the other side of the door. Turned out the sink was leaking and water dribbled on the bin under it. When I was about 9 or 10, I was left home alone and sitting in the living room watching a movie. All of a sudden the doorbell rings a couple of times. I knew not to answer the door for strangers. So I ignored it. Then I hear a loud banging on the front door and I can see the guy trying to look through the glass on the sides. I pause the TV and run into the kitchen. The loud banging continues and gets louder and more frequent. I hear him shout, "I know somebody's in there. Please answer the door." I'm absolutely losing my mind in the kitchen. I'm crying. Looking for a weapon. And then all of a sudden the banging stops. I was relieved and thought that he gave up. But then I hear footsteps from around the sliding door in the kitchen. In a panic, I hide behind the kitchen island in the pantry. So he can't see me. But I can see the top of him from the angle I'm at. He bangs on the glass door. "Please. It's important." I'm silently bawling my eyes out and assuming I'm about to die. We didn't have a home phone and I only had an iPod Touch at the time. Then he just walks away out of my backyard. I probably stayed hidden in my spot for another 30 minutes or so before I thought it was safe to come out. Not too soon later, My mom comes home and I tell her everything crying. She goes to the front door and finds a note from the post office. They needed someone to sign the package, so they could drop it off. And the package was labeled as super important. My mom calmed me down and felt really bad that I got so scared. But even now, I can't help but think to myself that the mailman was trying way too hard to get my attention. Maybe my child brain exaggerated things and made it more scary than it was. But I remember it clearly and I really thought I was going to die. Reminds me of the time I was home alone and my brother who'd just gotten his license was out driving with his friends. The police showed up, asked if this was where my brother lived, and kept asking about my parents being home, if I was alone, etc. They just would not get to the point about why they were there until I think she realized I was seconds from bursting into tears worried about my brother. Turns out some old lady had reported him for daring to drive down the alley behind her house while being a teenager. Sometimes these people don't think about how terrifying they can come across to people who don't have context about the situation. When I was about 13 years old, I had the house to myself. I took out some Oreo cookies and went into the bathroom for about 5 minutes. When I came back out, they were gone. I never found the cookies. This was mid-90s. I was home alone and about 12 to 13 years of age. My parents were at work. I was sitting on the couch watching TV and heard the back storm door open. No way should have anyone been trying to open the door during that time of the day, only my parents and I lived there. Glanced out the back and front windows. Didn't see either of their cars in the driveway or out front. Then I heard tapping. Not exactly knocking, but tapping. I think the guy had a bump key, because door wasn't forced and it would explain the tapping. The first thing to cross my mind was the rifle in my parents' bedroom. My grandfather had died a few years earlier and we had inherited a Winchester rifle that we kept in the corner of a closet, and there was a box of cartridges in my mom's dresser drawer. I grabbed the rifle, shoved a couple of cartridges into it, and just as I left my parents' room and got back to the kitchen where the back door was, I heard one final tap. The lock on the doorknob turned, and the door swung open. In stepped a sketchy-looking dude wearing a denim jacket. He stopped dead in his tracks when he saw I had the rifle aimed at him. I then racked the action. He turned around and ran down the street. This was the only incident of this type that ever happened at this house. The dude never came back. I wasn't alone, as anyone who owns a doxy can attest to. My roommate had left to go home for Christmas, but she had left her window unlocked. Now surprisingly nothing happened until after the holiday. I was sleeping in my room. Door shut when I started to hear someone moving about the apartment. Not super loud, so I thought my roommate had returned from her holiday. It was late, around 2 a.m., so I'm thinking her flight must have been hella delayed. All is fine and dandy until my door opens. The shape that fills the door is not my roommate. I scream, "Who the beep are you?" Which activates my doxy. She starts barking. Sounded much bigger than she was. Growling and everything. Launches herself off the bed and chased the burglar out of the apartment. By the time I found my glasses and grabbed the Swiffer for protection, my dog had already made a sweep of the joint. Thankfully nothing was stolen. The person had dropped everything right outside my room. The police never found anyone. The person had left fingerprints in my apartment, but they never matched to anyone. I was peeped up for a while after, but my tiny guard dog made sure to hold the fort down. If not for her, I'm not sure if the person would have run just from me screaming. But damn, nothing is scarier than having your home invaded. Nothing ever happened. But the terrifying experience was coming to terms with my own paranoia. there was a brief stint in my adolescence when I was old enough to be home alone after I returned from school. Given that my siblings were in extracurriculars and my parents would get home at 5. Every day I would run around the house and look in every closet of a 3-story, 4-bedroom house. I would close all the blinds, grab the big chef's knife from the kitchen, and hide behind the couch in the TV room. Got most of my homework done in that position. God forbid if the doorbell rang. Watched too many Lifetime original movies with my grandma growing up.